I'm Buntag, and welcome to another episode of my Filipino adventure. And I am not an expert. I don't know what I'm talking about. I am not an expert on the Philippines. Let me just get that straight. I had a comment of an irate viewer saying, I don't get it. Why? I mean, you're not married. You don't live there. Why are you giving advice? I hope that I'm not giving advice. This whole channel is about an experience. It's an adventure. And I'm just bringing you guys along with me to share the adventure. Now, do I know about the Philippines? Yeah. Have you ever been to the Philippines? If you haven't been to the Philippines, then yeah, I know more than you do. Just because I've been there 4 times. I've spent a few months there on and off over the last couple of years. And I studied it, and I've watched a lot of vlogs, and there's plenty of vlogs out there people who live there. They can they can give you advice. I'm just sharing my experience and what little I know. And if I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm wrong. And please don't take anything that I say as concrete advice. I think the only thing I said really I said that it's harder to get your wife, if you're married in the Philippines, to bring her to the United States. It takes longer. This guy swore up and down that he only took him a couple months. But everyone I talk to, if you Google it, it says, yes, it does take longer for it because you need an immigrant petition on top of everything else. So it does take longer to process. And maybe I'm wrong, but for all the information I've gathered, that's correct. So anyway, I am not an expert. Do not listen to me. Do not take anything I say as advice. It's just, you're going to learn with me, and you're going to make mistakes with me because I'm sharing this with you. And that brings me to another comment. I've got a couple people saying, why do you share your life on YouTube? I don't know. I think all vloggers are sharing their life on YouTube. Bud Brown, I feel like I know him. I watched some of his videos. Ned over at My Philippine Dreams. I mean, he shares his life. He talks about medical procedures, and he stays out of his relationship now that he's not with Michelle. He's probably felt like he was burned on that. But so I think all vloggers share. And why do we do it? I don't know. I enjoy watching other people, and maybe other people will enjoy watching me. Are we narcissists? Could be. It could be that, you know. Could be that we feel important, especially if we have a lot of followers. So I just want to get that out of the way, that I'm not a Philippine expert. I know a little. I know more than some, and I don't know more than most vloggers. Let's put it that way. So I'm just sharing my experience. So I guess my other painting, I'm sure you know who this guy is. Because I'm kind of a nerd. Oh, speaking of nerd, this is how much of a nerd I am. Check this out. Hope I don't get any Lucasfilm warnings. Now if I can get it off without getting my nose caught in the zipper. Yeah, so I'm kind of a dweeb. So Yna is back home in Dog. She spent a couple weeks in Lapu-Lapu, Mactan, basically Cebu. After I left, she stayed with her cousin at the boarding house. She stayed in town to maybe do a land deal, which hasn't happened. It's no rush. We put this on a hold until after my medical procedures are done. It's funny though that one piece of land that they raised it from $300 to $350. They called her back and lowered it to $275, which was lower than the original asking price. When I guess they figured out that we didn't fall for this bait and switch, you know. So when we didn't get back to them, they probably said, "Uh-oh, they're not gonna buy it," so they offered us less. But we're still thinking about that piece of land. On some sad news. Oh, before we get to the sad news, I'm gonna end with the sad news. She sent me some really cool videos. She took a bus all the way from Cebu to Hinobaan, Negros. Now, if you know what it is, Cebu City is in the island of Cebu, and the next island is Negros, which is her. So she had to go, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours down to the very bottom of Cebu. You take a a ferry at Santander across to Negros. Well, the whole bus gets onto this ferry. It's a big, full city bus. It goes onto this ferry and it goes across, and then when the ferry gets there, unloads, and you're on the bus, and then you continue. So she took one bus, and I think it was a 12-hour trip, the whole trip, all the way from Cebu City, all the way to her home in Hinobaan. So I'm gonna, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that right now. So that was pretty cool. And we had done that before too on a trip. We had taken the bus, and the bus takes the ferry. So I've experienced it myself, but I'm not sure if a lot of people have seen that before. It's pretty interesting. And on some sad news, if you watch my videos at all, you might have caught a glimpse of Molly, the cancer dog. Well, sadly, yesterday morning I woke up and Molly had passed. She was a rescue dog. I got her, I think when she was around 10 years old at the pound. Her owner had died, and she'd been sitting on the pound for like 3 months, and they were about ready to put her down. I said, this is an awesome dog. Just because it's old, people don't want it. So I took Molly in, and we spent the last 5 years together. She did develop some cancer problems, or some hematomas and some tumors, which I think was probably finally the end of her, what took her away from me. But she never seemed like she suffered. She was playing the day before. My son had come over for a visit, and she seemed a little slower and a little, quieter, but in no pain. So anyway, R.I.P. Molly Sparkles, Molly the cancer dog, or otherwise known as Lumpy. So I miss my dog. It's weird because I live alone. I'm just miss eating anything, lunch or breakfast, without her just staring at me, waiting for me to drop something. So it's funny that that's the weirdest thing I miss so far, is every time I eat, I look, where is she? She's not here. So anyway, life goes on. So I'm going to wrap that up for now. Remember, I am not an expert. Do not take my advice. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting in advance. If you haven't, please do it. And, of course, this whole channel is about staying classy. Love ya. Bye.